Thanks for joining me. I hope you are keeping well. I know there is so many people at the moment that are getting this COVID or the different variants, and luckily everyone is well in my family. No one has had it. I pretty much keep to myself anyway. I don't go out a lot, so if it comes to me, it's going to have to come through my front door with someone visiting me. What I want to talk about today is synchronicities, and I get asked a lot, like a lot of people say, I keep seeing repeated numbers. You know, I keep waking up and seeing 111 or 444, or those type of numbers are appearing everywhere, and then wanting to know what they actually mean. Well, if you follow numerology, numbers have significance. So whatever you are going through in your mind at the moment, whatever you've been thinking about constantly, whatever you've been sort of wanting to go in a certain direction, or you're not sure about something, if you are seeing a repeated number, there is a connection to that number to what you've been thinking about. So if you look up if you saw 444, if you can look up what 444 means or what 4 means, and then put it to what you've been asking for. Like there's common signs. People are always looking for signs, and you can find signs everywhere if you're looking for them. So you may be asking spirit for a specific sign. So if you said, like, I really want to know if this is the right job for me, I really want to know if I'm going to be okay financially. If you're asking your loved ones or spirit these types of questions, you might also be expecting to see a particular sign. You know, you might want to see a feather, or you might want to see a rainbow, or you might want to see coins on the ground, or a butterflies. And you're not seeing those things, so you are thinking that they're not helping you, they're not giving you signs. But are they still giving you signs and you're just not noticing them because you're only looking for something specific, and in the meantime they've given you 10 different other signs and you just haven't noticed them? So rather than asking for specifically what you want to see, just allow, because when you allow, that's when you're in the alignment of the energy. Songs on the radio, words in songs, they quite often will just pop up, and you might be singing along and not even like noticing that the sign is actually in those words. There's a lot of subtle signs that are around all the time. Like if you're standing outside in the garden and you're talking to somebody, or you're just, going out to get the letters, and you're just standing there and you're looking at the sky, if suddenly a whole heap of petals just fell off a flower, like a rose was there, and not all of them, there's no wind blowing or anything, just petals fell from one flower, there could be an energy standing there of somebody that's passed, their energy has forced those petals to fall off. Birds that just sit in the window and look at you, or they'll sit on a fence and they'll just look at you, and it's an unusual kind of behavior. They're just staring at you. Number plates on cars, like you could be driving along and see a certain word on a car that is really relevant to what you've been thinking about at the moment. Or if you instinctively just suddenly look, if you're walking, if you're driving, you're out somewhere and you're not noticing anything around you, but then suddenly you look and you see a word like choice written on a building, written on a vehicle. There could be a word like choice, and it's the message is the choice is up to you. You're the one who gets to choose. Or you might see a word like water, and it just jumps out at you. For some reason, you just look at it. You've never noticed it before. That word could have always been there on that building, and you've never noticed it before. And this particular time, it jumps out at you. Is that a message that you need to drink more water? Is that a message that you need to be near water? Whatever it is, cleaning, you might just look at the word cleaning and think nothing of it. But if you align yourself with that, what you've been trying to manifest in your life or trying to do in your life, and you look at the word cleaning, it jumps out at you, does that mean there's some kind of cleansing that needs to happen first before you're going to get what you want? So it's, I don't know, it's kind of like living in this very mindful state of everything around you. I do this thing because I'm constantly, like on a day-to-day basis, I'm doing readings every day. So I'm constantly in a meditative state for hours on end. So my alignment is like super powerful. And I'll do these things like, you know, there's 5 people in the house, and what am I going to have for tea tonight? And then I just sort of tune in and I go, okay, I'll get that. And I'll go and buy something for tea. And then when the kids come home, they're like, oh, we really wanted, you know, something, this particular thing for tea tonight. And I've got it. I've sort of zoned into their energy, knowing what they want. Or the other day I was laying in the hammock and I was closing my eyes as I was rocking back and forth. And one of my daughter-in-laws decided it would be a good idea to video me. But as she got her phone up and started to video, I opened my eyes and looked straight at her. And she's like, how did you know you had your eyes shut? Even when I've got my eyes shut, instinctively I know what's going on around me. And with readings, I've mentioned this before, and it still happens constantly. For years this has been happening. We'll have a whole week where everybody that purchases a reading has a very, very similar name. Like I might get a Jess buys a reading, and then later, an hour later, Jessica buys a reading, and then an hour later, Jessie buys a reading, and then an hour later, James buys a reading. All their names are very, very similar. And then the next week I'll have a Deb buys a reading, and then a Deborah buys a reading, and then a Debbie buys a reading. All totally different people, but they have the same name or very, very similar name. The next week, like last week, I had 4 people who had the exact same surname, and they were not related to one another, from different countries, but they had the exact same surname. And every day in a row, I had someone with that surname buy a reading. Well, that's got to be some kind of synchronicity. Why is it that those people with that name were drawn to me at the same time? What is with that? Or I will have people with different names, but they all have the exact same problem. They might have all just gone through a marriage separation and they want to know where their life's heading. And I'll get 5 or 6 readings in a row, and they all have the exact same story happening in their life. And they all instinctively need to contact me in that same time frame for a reading. Like, that's incredible. Is it because I'm in alignment? Is their energy in alignment with me? You know the old saying, you find yourself in the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time. It is so much about alignment. So when you're living in a space of getting out of that ego mind and feeling your way through life, sort of like nature does, like birds just know there's going to be food there for them. They don't plan their meals. They just know that the universe will supply food for them. But we tend to be so caught up in our minds and trying to plan everything and trying to read into everything and overthink everything. We totally miss the signs. It's like I remember going to someone's house once, and the minute I walked into her home, I've like felt her dad there. His presence was so strong. And yet we sat down and we were having a talk, and she was saying, oh, really, I can't get any signs from Dad. You know, I've been asking for signs, and I'm thinking, he's just here. Like, what does he have to do to get you to notice that he's here? Maybe he can't move things because it's so hard for spirit to actually physically move things when they are just light energy. But has he been putting signs in front of you all the time and you just haven't noticed them? Because you're looking for something big. You're looking for some kind of big sign. And because you're not seeing it, you're not thinking they're there. But they are there. They're constantly there. Like my mum used to have a habit of, because she was stuck this is not really a habit, but because she was stuck in a wheelchair, or she was in her chair and she couldn't move, she used to use toothpicks a lot, and she would like pick her teeth, but somehow those toothpicks always ended up on the ground, and I always ended up stepping on them, especially in bare feet. So now, if I'm out somewhere and I look down and I see a toothpick in the most weirdest of places, I just laugh to myself and I'm like, yay, mum, you come with me. You know, you're here with me. Because to me, every time I see a toothpick, I think of mum. So, you know, some people might think, oh, I keep seeing paper clips everywhere. Like, why am I finding paper clips? Or rubber bands. Like, oh my goodness, everywhere I go, there's a rubber band. Is that connected to someone who's been trying and trying and trying to get a message to you, and you haven't put the two and two together? Like, oh yeah, someone used to ping me with rubber bands all the time when they were alive. Oh, that's who it is. That's why there's rubber bands. So try not to be stuck on needing a certain sign. Try to be very open to noticing everything that's around you, and just being in tune with your surroundings. So when you're like that, everything just flows. It doesn't feel like you're swimming upstream against the flow all the time trying to make stuff happen. So, yeah, share with me any really great synchronicities that you've had that you enjoy getting, and thank you again for listening to me.